You know those situations where when one thing goes wrong, everything else that could go wrong all happens at the same time? Well, that's kind of what the Kansas City housing shortage is doing right now. It seems like it's getting worse, not better. And in this video, we're breaking down exactly why, what's happening with mortgage rates. And at the end of this video, we'll discuss when you can finally expect some relief from all of this craziness. Let's get started. The housing shortage in Kansas City is caused by three things, and two of them are because of mortgage rates. So number one, we just haven't been building enough homes since after 2008 to keep up with all of the demand for housing. Number two, this is mortgage rates, right? It hampers all of the people who are now hitting their peak home buying years, who've got the down payment. They make enough money every single month to cover that mortgage, but mortgage rates are like 6.5%, 7%, and it's just prohibitively expensive. The third category, kind of a similar idea. It's everybody who currently owns a home that bought in the last few years or refinanced into a 3% or sub 3% mortgage rate and now wants to move but does not want to trade in that 3% for something at 6.5% or 7% because it basically doubles their monthly payment for the same home price. Now, mortgage rates are almost certainly the biggest cause of the housing shortage right now, and in the last several weeks they've really been pushing upwards, and it's not looking good. But it's important to note that this is not just because of the debt ceiling. While the debt ceiling was ugly and it was always going to happen at the last minute, it's in neither party's shared interest to plunge us into a certain recession. There's no political advantage to it, and of course they passed it. But while mortgage rates are based on some amount of speculation, now that that's in the past, the true reason that mortgage rates are really shooting up becomes very, very clear. Here's a chart that'll show exactly what mortgage rates look like over the last 6 months, and you can see that right now today we're at about 6.719%, which is one of the highest numbers we've seen since November 2022, when everything really hit the peak and all the headlines were talking about it. But we're really hoping, especially off of the feedback from last month's meeting, that later this year they do plan to decrease interest rates, but that all might be changing. See, last week a bunch of economic data came back, and some of the indicators the Federal Reserve looks at when making these decisions that showed signs that inflation is still persistent, that these rate hikes that we've all had to experience and suffer from that have caused the bank failures, high mortgage rates, housing unaffordability, that they're not quite having the intended effect just yet. Now, according to this article from the Wall Street Journal, traders and markets whose entire job is based on analyzing these decisions and how they impact their clients, they've started pricing in more rate hikes. Federal officials say that any decision to hold rates steady should not be viewed as the end of the tightening cycle. In other words, they might pause now, but they could very well go back to increasing interest rates in July or August or even September. We'll take a look at exactly what mortgage rates will probably look like at the end of this year and the beginning of next year at the end of this video. But for now, we're going to put a pin in the mortgage rate situation and turn to the Kansas City housing shortage, because we're coming up on two of the most pivotal months for this housing shortage, where in June and July, more homes are listed on the market than any other time this year. But we're also approaching these months right as mortgage rates are hitting full stride and peaking at like 6.8%. Here's a graph of all of the new listings that hit the market over the last 5 years. And each peak that you see, all 5 of those peaks, that's when we got the boost, is June and July. But as you can see this year, while we've got data in from May, it looks like we're just not going to see that. It looks like those high mortgage rates and that upward pressure basically deletes or nullifies that huge boost of inventory, that added supply to the market that we usually see this time of the year. Here's another way to visualize it with just the raw numbers. You can see that this is some of the lowest inventory we've ever had in the month of May over the last 5 years. And quite frankly, with high mortgage rates and everything else happening, it doesn't look like June or July are going to fare much better. The real problem with that supply crunch, if we don't see those listings in June and July, it means the already competitive market, where you're seeing homes sell in a matter of days, if not hours, offers over asking price, certain bidding wars in the best school districts, that could all get worse if we don't see all of those homes hit the market like we usually do every single year. And while some people will filter out because the mortgage rates are super high and the prices are high and it's just super competitive, it's just so overwhelming, the gap between supply and demand, that not having added supply that we normally do around this time of the year would turn up the temperature so much more and almost make matters exponentially worse. But there is some light at the end of the tunnel. These three organizations predict that rates will look even better at the end of this year and way different at the beginning of next year. So you can see quarter 3 of 2023, quarter 4, Fannie Mae expects about 6.2, 6%. The Mortgage Bankers Association predicts about 6% and then 5.6%. And then the National Association of Realtors, 6.1 to 5.8% by the end of the year. But this all changes once we round the corner to 2024, where by the second quarter, we should see rates around 5.6% or 5.3%, which is even better. While these estimates are certainly not made with laser-like accuracy, they're probably in the ballpark. And with all the stuff floating around the economy, anything could change. But based on right now and everything that looks likely to happen throughout the rest of the year, that's really good news. If mortgage rates fall near 6% and below 6% in 2024, even though we missed June and July of that boost of inventory, means next year is probably going to be pretty crazy, but it also means a lot of people are going to feel more comfortable selling their home, that their housing payments are going to be a lot more affordable, and it might just, on the tail end of all of this, cause prices to start kicking back up again, where they've kind of plateaued as a result of these high mortgage rates. So TLDR, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Everything looks good. If you have to buy now, I get it. There are absolutely things that we can do to put you in the position to get a really good deal despite all of this and set you up so you're prepared when mortgage rates really do finally kick down, that you're ready to refinance and not waste a bunch of money in fees. If you're planning to buy, maybe this fall, winter, or early next year, that might just be the sweet spot where you get a really good deal. And for the first time in years, you've got an interest rate that's below 6%. If you'd like to have a private conversation about what all of this means specifically for you and when you should buy or sell your home in Kansas City, I would absolutely love to talk. If you think we'd be a good fit, all my stuff is in the description. So you can call, email, text me, and we can set up a time to really set you up for success. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe so you see these weekly market updates, and I will see you on the next one.